they get to host postseason baseball for their Rangers for the first time, and those Rangers have a 2-0 series advantage. Welcome to the 2023 American League Division Series on Fox, presented by Booking.com. We welcome you inside with the Hall of Famer John Smoltz. I'm Joe Davis. For the Orioles, who led the American League with 101 wins this season, not much has gone right so far in this division series. Now, one amazing thing that they still have going, they've not been swept, John, in about a year and a half. How do they keep that streak going and keep their season alive?
Well, they've been known as resilient. That speaks to your point. They're gritty, and they pitch better than what's happened in the first two games. And to win the two-strike battle against this vaunted lineup for Texas, that's what they're going to have to do. Win the two-strike battle when you get two strike counts and get the leadoff batter off the base, because there's been too much traffic for the Baltimore Orioles pitching staff.
Well, that Rangers team, probably the hottest team in baseball at this point at the right time. They are perfect so far in the postseason. We saw the pitching and the defense in a 3-2 win game one, but then the bats came to life in game two.
Game one literally could have gone either way. It was such a good game, and the Texas Rangers made a play late. Young makes this play in the 8th inning. This could have changed the whole series. They could have gone on to lose that game. Then they throw out a runner late. So defensively and pitching and timing, they did everything you have to do. Now, game two was a total opposite of game one. They basically took care of business with 11 runs, 11 hits, and 11 walks. Look, they love to play here at home. They haven't been home in a while. The crowd's going to be crazy. It's going to be key that they stick to their game plan and close this thing out.
Magic number of 11 in game two. Magic number now is 1 to get the Rangers to the championship series for the first time in 12 years. Bruce Bochy has taken over and tries to do what he's done so many other times, march a team through the postseason. They hand it off to a great big game pitcher in Nathan Eovaldi here in game 3. It's the Rangers, it's the Orioles in the division series, next on Fox. First home game in nearly 3 weeks for these Texas Rangers. September 24th, they beat Seattle. Then they leave on a 7-game trip through L.A. and Seattle with a 2.5-game lead when they left here last. But they go 3-4 on that trip to blow the division that they led all year. Got to take a 6-hour flight to St. Pete. They sweep Tampa Bay. They fly up to Baltimore, win both games there. And now 16 days and close to 7,000 miles later, they're back in Texas, 1 win away from a championship series, and they've got the guy on the mound they want in the biggest games.
They sure do. Before the injury, he was rolling. After the injury, it's been a little bit of a, let's say, get back to form. He got back to form when they needed him in Tampa and dominated. And he's going to have fastball command going to be an issue. He's got, going to be a key. His fastball command's usually pretty good. He throws his split on both sides of the plate, and he throws an occasional curveball and cutter. Look, he's a big game wannabe. That's why they got him here. And for this home crowd, putting up a 0 in the first inning will go a long way.
All-star in his first season here in Texas in his home state. Last Wednesday in St. Pete, 1 run over 6 2/3. This will now be his 8th postseason start. These are the games they got him for. They signed him to that 2-year contract last year after he made his reputation in Boston pitching in big games. You think of the 2018 World Series where he didn't just pitch in big games, he pitched in all the games, 3 of them in a 4-day span. Yeah, that is the reputation of this man that tries to get him into the championship series. Against this lineup for the Orioles in Game 3 with the rookie Gunnar Henderson leading off. Adley Rutschman just 1 for 8 so far. Orioles obviously need more from him. Anthony Santander bats third. Ryan Mountcastle at first base hitting cleanup. First right-hander they face, so first start for Ryan O'Hearn, who had a fantastic regular season. Austin Hayes is in left field. In center it's Cedric Mullins with Jordan Westberg and Adam Frazier finishing things up for Brandon Hyde. The umpiring crew continues to rotate. The crew chief now calls balls and strikes, and Alfonso Marquez. Now, the Orioles led the American League with 101 wins this season. Offense failed them in Game 1. The pitching failed them in Game 2. Trying to keep their dream season alive here in Game 3 in Texas.
Yeah, and they were oh so close. Even though the Game 2 got away from them, they had a lot of situations that could have gone their way. Pitching did not make it happen. They have had the lead for a half an inning. They've got to get in a position to play with the lead a little bit more than they have in this series, and look for some guys to get out of their mode, meaning if they've taken pitches, look for them to swing early to get things going.
Gunnar Henderson stands in, and off we go with ball 1 from Eovaldi. Henderson had a big game in the second game of the division series, 2 for 4 with his first postseason home run, and he scored 3 times. 22-year-old rookie takes ball 2.
Both pitchers' fastball command is going to be the key. Getting the outer strike on the outside part, arm side of the pitcher, is where they like to live, because then that sets up his split. He can backdoor his curveball and throw his cutter in.
His 2-0 is a cutter in on the hands, as it's designed to be. And in center field, Taveras. Time for today's same-game parlays, sponsored by FanDuel. What a postseason Evan Carter has had. Cedric Mullins is certainly due. And John, you were talking about guys flipping the scouting report on their head. Adley Rutschman, one of those guys.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if he swings at the first pitch. He has not swung at the first pitch in 9 plate appearances. That almost is telling the pitcher he can throw a fastball and get an easy strike. At some point, he's got to change the scouting report and get after it in the first pitch.
Takes down the middle. It's a weapon that he's got as soon as he wants.
It's as soon as he wants, and that's why I thought early on he would kind of get Nathan Eovaldi to shake his head a little bit.
Down the left field line, fading. And foul, and it's 0-2.
Some guys are just really comfortable and they don't really change their game plan, and I respect that, but I think there's times in a postseason where you're not dealing with 162 and you need to shock somebody. At some point in this game, he needs to drive that first pitch, because we just told you he hasn't yet.
Eovaldi rocks and fires an 0-2 and misses inside. And Nathan Eovaldi, you mentioned it, missed the month of August with a forearm issue, and this is a guy who's already overcome 3 elbow operations through his baseball career, so obviously feared the worst. He gets a chase on a ball in the dirt and has his first strikeout.
And see, that's going to be the key tonight. That split has changed his career. They used to get on his fastball no matter how hard he threw it, and then when he developed the split, it takes the pressure off the fastball. And the height of his fastball, the reason he doesn't have to go north and south with his fastball is because of that pitch. He wants the hitter's eyes to go down thinking fastball all the way to the last minute, and the ball disappears. Great pitch to start.
Started to fold that pitch in a few years ago. He's thrown it more than ever this year. League hitting just 196 against it. Anthony Santander jumps on a first pitch curveball and has a base hit. First base runner of the game for Baltimore.
Now, I'm not saying every hitter does this, but that's more like it. When you look at film, every single hitter's looked at film against Nathan Eovaldi, and he'll show a backdoor curveball to left-handers to get strike one, and you saw Santander right away say, no, not this time. Here comes the curveball. I'm waiting for it, and gets a base hit.
You're talking, John, in game 2 about them trying to find some good things while they're getting blown out. And I mean, they scored 8 runs. They got 14 hits, and Brandon Hyde was hoping they did carry some of the momentum from that here.
Yeah, and that's, again, in baseball, it's like a broken record. There is some momentum that can carry over if your starting pitcher starts out with that. You're always the next day starting pitching momentum.
Ryan Mountcastle, the hitter. Hit and an RBI in both games so far in his first postseason.
Arm side fastball into right-handers, and then he's got that split. He'll throw into right-handers, almost as if it's a left-handed curveball getting to their back foot. Where Eovaldi's been awesome this year is when men are on base, especially runners in scoring position.
Bigger the game, bigger the situation, the better he gets. His 0-2. He'll swing on and miss. Nathan Eovaldi with an 11-pitch first inning, and the Rangers come to bat when you come back. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Back inside here in Texas, Rangers coming to bat for the first time with this lineup. Simeon, Seager, and Garvers plugged back in there after hitting the grand slam in game 2. Garcia, Carter, and Heim. And then down at the bottom, Lowe, Young, and Taveras. And with the season on the line for the Baltimore Orioles, they turn to the 27-year-old Dean Kramer, who's been really good in the biggest games down the stretch.
Yeah, last 2 games, he has been dynamite, and that's what they're going to need, because if he keeps it to 2 runs or fewer, 17 of those 32 starts, 11-0, and this is what he's going to do. He's going to blend his 4-seam cutter and sinker and use occasional changeup and curveballs. Again, look for his ability to pitch on either side of the strike zone to be successful.
When you're facing a lineup that is as scalding hot as this Rangers lineup, how are you approaching?
You have to be able to, look, when somebody's really, really good, you got to throw the first punch. And that means you've got to establish your fastball and say, I'm not afraid to challenge you, knowing how good they are offensively. You cannot do what the recipe has been called for the last 2 games. Pitch around, pitch around, pitch around, walk, 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 and then they blow it open. So you must establish your fastball early.
Marcus Semien leading things off, taking a strike. The Rangers have doubled down on what has been a season-wide, season-long emphasis on not chasing. They chase less than any team in baseball and then walked 11 times in game 2. And so even though they got out-hit and out-homered, they won with those 11 walks. And here we are with a 3-1 count right away.
He's got simple mechanics, and when he's in the slot, which he's been the last 2 games, he goes to both sides of those vertical lines, and he does not usually miss when he's connected on those lines.
Marcus Semien, 10 home runs to lead off the game this year. Pops up right side. Kramer caught off by Mountcastle. Get out of the way. Mountcastle makes the catch for out number 1.
The problem with knowing you're facing a great team, you see all the numbers, you see all the gaudy numbers, but the bottom line is for the Baltimore Orioles, this is a really, really good pitching staff that got off their game in the first 2 games with these Texas Rangers, and give them credit, they made them pay.
How about this guy, Johnny? You've talked about how nothing was more frustrating for you as a pitcher than when the best hitters refused to chase, and this guy here, their best hitter, set a record with 5 walks last game.
Yeah, sometimes you can lull the best player to sleep and he gets more aggressive, but he didn't. He took the walks, and it's why they've been so good.
Goes after the first pitch, as he often does. Strike 1. A lot of the talk about the Rangers has been about the rookies, and for good reason. Young and Carter have done awesome things, but Corey Seager has set the tone for this lineup. He's reached base in 14 of his 21 plate appearances this postseason. 1 ball, 1 strike. The former World Series MVP. Golf swung, right field. Forget about it. Rangers strike first. Tone setter, tone set. First postseason home run this year for Seager. 1-0 Rangers, and strike 1 on Garver.
Okay. That was a strong man sitting in a rocking chair hitting a home run.
0-2 on Garver.
And that's what makes him so unique. No stride, toe tap, just so strong, and uses his hands. And again, if he stayed healthier, he would be pushing harder for that MVP this year.
One ball and 2 strikes on Garver. Seager 33 home runs, even though he missed 40 games this season. As you're talking about, the hamstring and then the thumb. Led the league in doubles, even though he missed those 40 games. He hit .327. 2-2. Living up to his record-setting and really franchise-altering deal. Rangers had lost 102 games in 2021. A couple months after that season ended, he signed the largest deal in franchise history. Garver sends one way up there. Rutschman waits for it to come down, puts it away. Back to the home run.
Yeah, well, this is where you're going to want to see where the location is, and they're going to try to get that target right there, right? And as soon as he delivers the pitch, You can see where that ball ends up. It's nowhere near the target, and he golfs it. It's a changeup, and the changeup that he wanted was away, and the changeup that cuts is never good. It's like a slider that gives up a lot of home runs because of the spin, and when the changeup's working good, it's fading away from the left-hander.
Strike on Garcia, and the wrong guy to make that mistake against. Rangers in front 1-0.
You cannot let that bother you if you're Kramer. A solo home run is not the end of the world. Going and walking and creating a lot of traffic, that gets old and that gets tough on a pitching staff.
Kramer served up his share of home runs during the season, but got a lot better at keeping the ball in the yard as the year went on. He started 32 games this year. The Orioles won 24 of them. So while it might not seem like the name that you want with your season on the line, this is the guy that they trust. Roxon fires in 0-2. Garcia reaches out, flips one into center field, and he's got a 2-out base hit. That was part of the game within the game on Sunday, John. 2 strikes. They just could not put the Rangers away.
Yeah, you got to win the 2-strike battles, and he was tying them up. In the games that I've watched him pitch against Garcia, he ate him up with sinkers in, and he went to those sinkers in early and then threw a breaking ball that just kind of not a end of the world pitch, meaning it wasn't a bad pitch, but it allowed him to keep his hands back and flick it into center field when he was getting beat up and in. You got to win those 2-strike battles. If they don't, it's going to be a long game for the Orioles.
Evan Carter takes inside, ball 1. When Carter last played here, this is about 2.5 weeks ago now. He was the intriguing rookie who just come up a few weeks ago, just a week after he turned 21 years old, but turned into a legend with his postseason start, reaching base in 12 of his 17 times up. Picks a base hit the other way. Make it 13 out of 18 for the amazing Evan Carter.
Well, they're a confident offense, as you can imagine, and they love playing at home. Great winning percentage at home, and there's no shadows. Everything looks good. The hitter's eye is good, and of course they play 81 games here, so they're going to have that advantage.
This park is pretty big, but the ball travels well. 2 on 2 out for Jonah Heim. The all-star catcher takes ball 1.
Yeah, the alleys are what makes this ballpark big. Really, from the 30-40 feet from left field line and right field line, you see how it jumps out there to 372 and then 410. But to your point, the ball does carry and plays shorter than what it says on the fence.
Yeah, and it travels a little better when they have the roof open, but they have not had it open since May. And in the postseason, it's Major League Baseball's decision in conjunction with the umpires. And it's not just temperature, because it's a beautiful day here temperature-wise. Humidity has something to do with it as well. A little too humid for them to have it cracked open, so they keep the noise in, of which there's been plenty in this first inning.
You noticed, you asked me what was wrong with my, I was having a bad hair day. I said the humidity.
That's it.
It's very humid.
You walked out of the hotel and it was just a mess.
Standing up.
I know. Sorry, John. You need to get that under control. 2 on 2 out in this first inning. Jonah Heim on a 2-1 pitch. Sends one in the air to center field. Mullins going back on it. He's got room. And that's that for the Rangers in the first. But Corey Seager, who walked his way to history in Game 2, pummels this pitch. And the Rangers 1 win away from the championship series. 1-0 after the first. Well, the story's been told a million times, but not too many times in the postseason yet. Seager owned this ballpark in 2020 when he was with the Dodgers. And now in his second season with the Rangers, his first playoff game here in a Rangers uniform. He's got a home run. Ryan O'Hearn gets his first start of this series. One of the best hitters for the Orioles most of the year, but he's 0 for his last 25. His last hit 3 weeks ago this Friday. Facing a righty tonight, though, and getting the start and fouling this one off 0-2 just like that. Probably feels like that's often the case when you're 0 for your last forever. And Brandon Hyde has touched on how O'Hearn has hit the ball hard during that stretch, and a good example in Game 2. He pinch hit and hammered a ball to left field that was caught in front of the deep wall. 0-2. Oh! Ball one. Quite a story, this guy. Cut loose by the Kansas City Royals and then an out-of-nowhere star for a lot of the year in Baltimore. On a 1-2 from Evaldi. Fouls it off, stays alive.
Yeah, the one thing that also the story needs to be told, it's one thing when a team is struggling, which they are, but the other pitching staff has not made enough mistakes to get them going, right? So they're executing with 2 strikes. They're winning the 2-strike battle. That splitter right there, he'll make an adjustment and get it out of the zone. That one was in the zone. He doesn't want it in the zone.
Topper, right side. Evaldi cuts it off and shovels on to low.
The thing about the playoffs that we've talked about is everything's magnified. The 1 for 13's magnified. The stress is higher. The adrenaline's up. But the reality is you're trying to make it as easy as you can on yourself to simplify the game. Get the first guy out, it's easier. Get men on base, it's harder. And that's what the Rangers have been able to do. They haven't given really the Orioles a chance to do much damage with nobody out. A lot of their traffic was coming with 2 outs in the game that they eventually came back and lost by 3. So when you execute early, it takes the stress off you late.
One gone in the second inning for Austin Hayes, who goes after the first pitch. Hot shot to right to Simeon. 2 up and 2 down. Now, I've heard you talk about on the road as a pitcher, you're trying to keep it to a dull roar. Evaldi's talked about pitching at home and trying to harness that adrenaline and the emotion to help him focus better.
Yeah, and that will do it, right? There's 2 things that can happen. One, the adrenaline can get you to elevate your pitches, which you don't want to do. That means you're overthrowing and you're actually pumped up.
You've had that happen.
Yeah, I've had it happen my first time until I like, whoa, I got to slow this thing down. And what 2 strikes becomes even more because the crowd goes crazy with 2 strikes, and you want to focus and put the hitter away with 2 strikes. Not that you don't want to do that in the regular season, but they're not doing that in the regular season as much as they do it now.
Cedric Mullins, and this was borderline whether or not he was going to be in the lineup today because he's 2 for his last 41. He's just looked out of sorts. But Brandon Hyde said his defense is valuable enough to justify having him in there. And as was the case for the struggling O'Hearn, quickly 0-2.
He's got 3 different ways he could get him out here with 2 strikes. Curveball, splitter away, or fastball up.
He goes with the splitter. Grounder. 1, 2, 3. on a Corey Seager home run. The Rangers have a 1-0 lead. One win from the championship series. Dean Kramer goes back to work. In the bottom part of the Rangers order here, Nathaniel Lowe. Strike one.
It's hard to say that the Rangers could use another guy getting going, but this is the guy that has been a little bit of funk, can put on a home run display in batting practice. Fastballs beating him just like that, and if he gets unlocked, man, it's just another thing starting or pitching has to worry about, because they had high hopes, and certainly last year he had a really good year, but the last, I don't know, 20 games that every team is pounding him with fastballs.
Silver Slugger last year. Fastball fouled off here. And this season, decent throughout, but like you said, struggled over the last month. Got dropped out of the 3 spot. Still, though, this bottom of the order for the Rangers, you go All-Star, Silver Slugger, All-Star, then Tavares hitting 9th has had a good postseason. There just are no breaks. So Kramer's got him to 2 strikes again. Can he finish him off this time? 2-2.
See, I'd be careful with that pitch to Lowe right now. I know he's trying to cut that ball in on his hands, but that's the kind of bat speed that he can handle that cutter. It only takes, you never know for a hitter, the same thing with a pitcher. Say he's struggling with throwing strikes, and all of a sudden he gets connected one way or another with a call that he didn't think. It only takes one swing of that click to feel that timing back.
On this 2-2 Low. Leaves a fastball up. Good patience. And the count goes full. Eighth pitch of the at-bat. It'll be a 9th. Had him at 0-2. But the battle wages on.
Now, for Brandon Hyde and the Baltimore Orioles, this unfortunately is not a fun game for a starting pitcher to pitch, because you're going to have to pitch perfect. He has to keep the game close, does Brandon Hyde, and he will use every resource he has to against this offense to try to do that.
Already 30 pitches in here. Another 3-2 to Low is popped foul again. .28 years old in his 5th year in the major leagues. 3rd one in Texas. Came over from Tampa Bay. A breakout season last year, trying to put his first stamp on this postseason. On the 10th pitch, shoots one foul. Make it 11 for Lowe.
Well, when you're in a situation like this as a pitcher, you know the pitch you're supposed to make, and that pitch was supposed to never get to the 3-2 count, and then he's fouling off, and you're going to be tempted and baited to throw a breaking ball, and I think it's a dangerous pitch to a guy who has struggled with the fastball.
11 pitch of the at-bat, sticks for the fastball, and he's laid on it as he's been every time he's thrown it.
There comes a point, though, after about 3-4 of these in a row, then you got to change your location if you're going to go with a fastball, because he is reading the pitch out there. You can throw a breaking ball and get him fooled, there's no doubt. It's just, when do you do it?
Another fastball and another foul. 13th pitch coming up here. No matter how this ends, Lowe's got to be able to take some good feeling from it. Bakers does it. Wow.
Now, see, every one of those have been away. Up and away, he usually doesn't get to it. Now, he's been throwing a cutter and a sinker. You see, the last one was the cutter. To tie him up on the inside part of the plate would be the call on a fastball if you feel like you can make that to the glove side of Kramer.
Another 3-2 and another foul ball. This is amazing. We're going to have to shrink our font on the pitch by pitch. Running out of room.
All right, now you got to deviate. Now you throw the breaking ball and try to get him to swing over the top, because he's been basically seeing enough fastballs here in this at bat. This is a rarefied error.
The marathon reaches a 15 pitch to left field and caught by Hayes, the most impressive lineout in baseball history. Nathaniel Lowe. Oh, my goodness. I know it's an out, but say Kramer's going to throw about 90 pitches in this game. You just exhausted like 1/6 of those.
Yeah, no, that was an at-bat that maybe you look down the road as far as the Rangers go. Maybe that at-bat, he starts seeing the fastball a little bit better. Still late on a lot of them.
Brings up a guy who has not been late and is not late here. Josh Young bangs a base hit into left field. So one out base runner for the Rangers, and we go down to Ken Rosenthal.
Dean Kramer holds dual Israeli-American citizenship, and he's pitching tonight as the war between Israel and Hamas enters its 5th day. Both of his parents are Israeli. His younger brother Niv is in the Israeli army. Virtually his entire extended family lives in Israel. Kramer said everyone is doing okay, and he's grateful for the support he's receiving from his teammates and manager Brandon Hyde. He made it clear he wanted to pitch tonight, but he said the war would be in the back of his mind.
How could it not? The first Israeli-American big leaguer, the ace of Israel's World Baseball Classic team. And tonight, that on his mind, making his postseason debut. Zoan de Leody Taveras in the dirt for ball one. This is an unlikely guy to be in this spot. And Dean Kramer. Dean didn't even make his high school's varsity team until he was a junior, and he did so at that point as more of a hitter than he was a pitcher. He was like 140 pounds, and he was throwing in the mid-80s, but he wanted to keep playing, and so he went to a junior college. He grew, gained some velocity, and a few years later he got drafted. Great reminder to never give up on those dreams. 1-2 on Taveras.
Well, you can see when his fastball is sneaky, right? Four seam and the two-seamer combination is sneaky, simple mechanics. And as I told you, he was making a lot of pitches against the Boston Red Sox, and really the last 2 games that he pitched to end the year.
Home of the 1-2. Taveras pops it up. Foul ground at third. Jordan Westberg has room for out number 2. Kramer was originally drafted by the Dodgers, but came to Baltimore in the first, and at this point probably the biggest deal of their rebuild. July of 2018, they traded Manny Machado to the Dodgers. 4 prospects went to Baltimore. 1 of them panned out, and he's right here. Back to the top of the order, and Marcus Semien. Chase, strike 1.
You want to stay away from that spot. Anything right there, middle and middle end to Semien is danger. You want to stay away like he did in that first slider.
Got the call there.
Got a huge call. Now he can expand the zone even more outside.
Young at first, 2 out. Kramer staying away with an 0-2. Oh!
Yeah, that's just good pitching. Put pressure on the hitter and put pressure on the umpire, and that was a little bit too far out, but you can do that 0-2. You got 1 more pitch to play with that same side of the plate.
Alfonso Marquez, by the way, typically pretty small strike zone. Marcus Semien, who led the league in hits, led the league in runs scored, and has led off every game this year for the Rangers. On this 1-2 from Kramer. Upstairs, and the count evens up.
Clean innings, hard to come by against the Rangers, but boy, that's a formula you need to have more 1, 2, 3 innings than they've been having in this series.
Base hit left center field. Young goes first to third. On his way to second, Semien with a hustle double.
Brandon Hyde's got a tough decision to make here. I almost couldn't pitch to Seager here with a base open and 2 outs. We'll see what they're going to do. We got Garver on deck, but that's just good hitting, and that's what Semien has done. And they're going to definitely pitch to Garver and walk Seager.
So he adds to his walk total. That's now 8 in this division series in 3 games for Seager. And the bases are loaded for the guy that went deep when he had him loaded in game 2. It's Mitch Garver.
And this is where a guy that takes a lot of pitches but loves the fastball could come out of his shoes here on the first pitch.
See what Kramer gives him. Good catch. The corner.
His breaking ball is better than average, and I notice he doesn't throw quite as many of those, but that's the change of speed he's going to need. When he throws his 4-seamer, then it's going to have extra hop to it. So good first pitch to get a strike.
Does he try that fastball against this great fastball hitter in Garver? He does, and it's pulled down the line. It's actually a changeup, and it was pulled down the line. Garver delivers again. 2-run double, 3-0 Texas.
I'm a little confused by the pitch selection after you had a breaking ball that already slowed the hitter down, and he went with a changeup, and that changeup after a breaking ball just played well for Garver. I know he's a really, really good fastball hitter, but man, oh man, what a good piece of hitting right there and taking advantage of a pitch that stayed up.
Chris Holt, the pitching coach out there for what has been a rare visit, because typically when things have gone south, it's been Yank. And it's been Brandon Hyde to make the walk out there.
Well, again, little things in postseason that may get overlooked. 0-2 on Semien. Couldn't put him away. Got the base hit. And then, man, what the Rangers have been able to do to take advantage. With the bases loaded after 3 walks, see ya. And that changed the game. And then today he did the same thing after an intentional walk. He was able to hit it down the line. Lucky here that the ball hit right there. There would have been another run scored had it got down the line. So a break for the Orioles.
2nd and 3rd, and ball 1 on Garcia. Mitch Garver has now knocked in 7 runs in his 2 games in this postseason. And that was his first opportunity on Sunday. And Bruce Bochy said, I've got a rule. And that rule is if you hit a grand slam, you're back in there.
It's a pretty good rule.
He earned it. Action in that Orioles bullpen.
And I understand why this decision wasn't made for Baltimore, but when you get 4 hits, usually you're going to play the next game too.
Right.
But Mateo, not a good matchup against Eovaldi.
He rarely plays against righties. Hyde did think about it. Figured it'd be his first guy off the bench if they see a lefty.
All right, now I mentioned in the first at bat, he got in twice to Garcia and then threw a breaking ball, and Garcia got a hit. Let's see if the adjustments made between the battery of Rutschman and Kramer.
Seager at 3rd, Garver at 2nd. 2 in the bank in the 2nd inning.
Man, 2 out RBIs in any time, but in the postseason, they're backbreakers.
2 outs and 2 strikes. Rangers have been owning those games. 2 outs, 2 strikes here. Garcia gets up on top of that ball, hammers it to left field. What a swing! It's gone!
On this pitch right here, talked about getting it inside. They wanted to get it up. Right there's the place, but that is not the place. that it absolutely went to. It was out over the plate where he could get his hands to get it totally extended. See how that's middle? And that is the difference between getting an out, a swing and a miss, or a 3-run homer. That location by a foot is the big difference for Garcia, and the Rangers do what they do.
ALDS Garcia, his second home run of the postseason. What a swing it was on that letter-high fastball. Crushes it to left, and again, it's 2 outs and 2 strikes. The Rangers find a way.
And tonight, 6 base runners reached on 2 strikes.
Over the first 1 2/3, Evan Carter pops up the first pitch that Tyler Wells throws. Orioles bullpen, and that'll do it for the inning. Second consecutive game, a 5 spot in the second. ALDS Garcia climbs the ladder, launches a ball into the far reaches of Globe Life. The Rangers partying, 1 win away from the championship series, and well on their way through 2. Adolis Garcia, fan favorite here in Texas, favorite down in that clubhouse too of his teammates. Crushes a 3-run home run that's given Nathan Eovaldi a 6-run lead.
That is a beautiful thing. If you're in an elimination game and you're on the good side of it, you want the lead and you can attack the hitters and really put pressure on an offense that's struggled to score a lot of runs. And that's what he's got right now. And it's been a luxury for the Rangers. When they're going good, these are the kind of games they play.
Jordan Westburg leading off this 3rd inning. 8-9-1 for the Orioles. 0-2 pitch. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Doubles up on the curve to get his 3rd K. So, Kenny, word has gotten out that the secret to this whole thing is Creed.
Evidently, Joe, Andrew Heaney told Rangers radio broadcaster Jared Sandler that the team dealt with its struggles in the second half by playing music from the band Creed. Now, it's a little bit of a surprising choice. Creed achieved its greatest popularity late 90s, early 2000s. Most of the players were either quite young then or not even born. Evan Carter, born in 2002, said he had indeed heard of Creed. He said the players listen to the band on the bus and have special handshakes to go with the songs. Guys, whatever works.
Joe Carpenter, our award-winning audio mixer, is here. Some Creed. 0-2 on Frazier. Hey, they're about to make their first live performance since 2012. This next spring, it's going to be a cruise through the Caribbean. Do you want to go? You and me?
You know what? I've never been on a cruise.
Poke to left field. I've never been to a Creed concert. 2 up and 2 down in this 3rd inning. 3 doors down, Buck Cherry, Vertical Horizon, and Creed. The summer of '99 cruise. Me and John will see it.
They can all fit on that cruise?
Yeah, it better be a huge boat. Because I'm bringing all my people. Gunnar Henderson back at the top of the Orioles order.
Well, the one theme, and we'll be talking about more of it during the game, but the one theme that's hard to get away from right now, the #1 seeds, with the exception of Houston, offensively have had a hard time connecting. Offense has been so hard to come by for the Dodgers. The Braves got a snatch them back victory last night, but you got to believe this is part of the learning experience of taking those 5 days off, and not to mention they were not hot when the 5 days were off, and being able to turn it back on and get connected offensively has been a struggle.
I just don't know that there is a good answer other than a different format.
Yeah, I think there's ways that they could enhance it and give less days off to the teams that play in it, but it is definitely a real thing. It's only 2 years, small sample size, but you're talking about some heavyweights, 100+ win teams that are trying to hang on.
Eovaldi kicks and deals very high.
And then on the flip side, you've got some teams that, are playing their way through on the road and doing some great stuff, like the Rangers. First time at home in 16 days. Kind of reminds you of last year's Phillies, 22 days in a row on the road to make their great run to the World Series.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's not just the layoffs that the top seeds are getting. It's the fact that they got hot teams coming in because they've had to have won the games in the interim. Nobody hotter than the Rangers these days. Henderson, hot shot, base hit, center field. And Gunnar Henderson with his 4th hit of this DS.
That is a great young player that Baltimore's going to get to see for at least the next 5 years. And these Baltimore Orioles are in good hands with a lot of their young players. And regardless of what happens in this series, they're going to learn a lot through this year and this experience and these type of games that they're going to want to play a lot more of in the future.
The Rutschman, one of the greats that they're going to have around for a long time. Last time Baltimore got swept was 1 week before Rutschman arrived. The Tigers swept them May 13th through 15th last year. Rutschman came up on the 21st, and they've gone 91 consecutive series without getting swept since. And just the cool irony that it would be that the first sweep would be in their first postseason series in forever. Eovaldi struck him out his first time, trying to do so again.
Well, and again, every time you see the Baltimore Orioles trying to get things going, they get these 2-out hits. But again, you know how hard it is to string 3-4 hits with 2 outs. You got to get some stress on the opponent team, the opponents early in the inning.
Rutschman digs it out, flies it to center field. Taveras on the move, edge of the track, gets there. 3 scoreless innings for Nathan Eovaldi and all kinds of support. Been more about 2 strikes, right? Rangers with a 5 spot in the 2nd inning for the 2nd straight game, and they've got their all-star catcher Jonah Heim up there to lead off the 3rd against Tyler Wells. Wells came out of the bullpen, needed just 1 pitch to finish the 2nd.
I like this guy a lot. I think Tyler Wells, and again, this young staff is going to get better and better when they get some more innings under their belt.
In on Heim, shallow center, Henderson out, Mullins on, diving try but can't get it. Everything going Texas's way. Leadoff single, Jonah Heim.
You know what, Joe, though, this series, when they look back, and let's just say the Texas goes on to win and it's a 3-0 sweep, it's going to look like a total domination, and it hasn't been that way. In the sense that it could have twisted and turned on 1 or 2 plays, and that's the difference. Give Texas all the credit. 2 outs, 0-2. It's a 1-0 game. And within, what, 7 minutes? Yeah. It turns into a 6-0 game. And so that is what Texas is about, and that's what you have to be worried about when you're facing this team.
Ball on Lowe, and remember that inning started, John, with Nathaniel Lowe working a 15-pitch at bat that ended in the lineout. Who knows if that played a role in Kramer's demise? Those little things within the game. Rangers doing the big things and the little things. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I honestly think that, I know Wells is in the bullpen, but he was a starter for most of the year. The stuff he has gives the Rangers the most fits. But he's not going to be in there very long, right? He's going to be in the bullpen. And the reason I say gives the most fits. Oh, see that high target? Well, he didn't throw it there. But the up fastball, the top tier of the strike zone fastball against the Rangers. Look, they're not going to hit everything, but they're hitting everything that's in that box that they control in the strike zone. Top of the zone. This is the kind of pitcher that can give the Rangers some issues.
It probably feels like he's reaching it out and throwing it by you right in front of your face. 6'8".
Oh.
6'8", 260. Size passed down from his dad, who was a Golden Gloves boxing champ in his younger days. 28 years old, born in Tulsa, went to Morgantown, West Virginia, then Yucaipa, California, bouncing all over growing up. His 2-2 to low is cut on and missed. There's that high fastball you're talking about.
It's just so easy for him to get there.
You know, we talk all about the 2-strike hitting. We've talked about the defense, but man, oh man, starting pitching, it's as old as time. It's as old as the game. If the numbers look like this, you're probably not winning if your starters are only giving you that amount of length.
No, and again, that Grayson Rodriguez game, so deceiving in how he was dominating the count. He's going to learn from that game. I'm telling you, this is a #1. That guy's a #1 pitcher on the staff in the next few years, and he'll learn from that game. He had 2 strikes on a lot of those hitters and couldn't put them away in places, again, up in the zone.
He was hoping, still is hoping to get another shot. Orioles can rally in this game and in this series, get it back to Baltimore.
See, the good news, bad news for the Orioles is you got plenty of time to score, but you don't want to keep having these deficits to have plenty of time to score.
That's right.
And that's what happened so quick. Game 2, 2-0 lead, Baltimore. They've held the lead for like 5 minutes, and then they dropped that big, was it a 7th spot?
Yeah, well, they scored 5 in the second, and just like they did today, 5 in the second. Then they had 4 in the third. A grand slam from Garver in that second game. Fly ball, foul ground, souvenir. They'll wear what the players are wearing on field during the postseason. Check out the largest selection of authentic jerseys, caps, t-shirts, and more, and root your favorite team on at MLBshop.com. I don't know if you can buy Creed CDs there, but you can at least get the gear to put on to listen to Creed.
San Francisco in those years had REO Speedwagon.
That's right. Rifled to right center field. Mullins tracks it down. Speaking of tracking it down, how about the play to end the Atlanta game last night from Michael Harris?
Yeah, that was as good as it gets. I mean, you don't see too many games end like that. And again, we were talking about the first seeds were really struggling in the postseason. They were down 4-0 and came back to win that game 5-4 to give them life. Whereas the Dodgers got down 4-0, but tried to come back and just couldn't against the pesky Diamondbacks, up 2-0 against the Dodgers. Never could have predicted that.
Leody Taveras swings at the first pitch. It is going to get out of play, and it's not hard to figure out what's going on there. And it goes back to that discussion about the Orioles starting pitching. The Dodgers, between Kershaw and Miller, have gotten 2 innings total, and they've given up 9 runs.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's what makes postseason so cruel but so great, because it is so far different than the regular season. It's played different. Managers, the crowd, and the players all feel it.
The more I watch, like every day that goes on, especially this postseason, I was telling you this on the ride over here, the more I'm convinced nothing matters. Nothing matters from the regular season. Who knows what's going to happen when you get here?
You're almost right on that. I mean, that's why 162, there are certain formulas that they have gotten down pat with the information and how to play the game over 162. Can't argue that. You see the brackets, and Astros lead 2-1. They won earlier today. And I think that formula can't be used at the same degree in the postseason. It's that much different.
Tyler Wells looking for a scoreless third inning. His 1-2 pitch to Leody Taveras. A good high fastball, but missed by Hare. Two. Taveras having a good postseason, out of the 9th spot. After he hit 300 in September, he's gotten a hit in each of the first 4 games of this postseason run. Somebody that Bruce Bochy said, I thought he was, a toolsy player when I got the job, but after watching him for a full year, I didn't fully appreciate how well-rounded this guy is. And he's left watching his growth through this year, sticking in the major leagues for the first time. Always been athletic in center field, but the bat has come around to be much more consistent this year. Pokes one down the left field line. Hayes to the corner with room. After 3 innings in Texas, Rangers have a 6-0 lead. This is sponsored by New Balance. We got now. It's the anniversary of one of the biggest swings in Rangers history. Game 2 of the ALCS in 2011. Nelson Cruz hit his walk-off grand slam against the Tigers on the way to a 2nd consecutive American League pennant. Rangers trying to get back to the championship series for the first time since that year. Anthony Santander shoots one just foul. The home run, the grand slam from Mitch Garver on Sunday was the first grand slam in the postseason since then. The only other grand slam by a Ranger in their postseason history. 3, 4, and 5 here for the Orioles, looking to chip away. 0-2.
That's been a theme. That's the 9th 0-2, and this is the 12th hitter. That's how you dominate, and that's how you put pressure on a team that's struggling offensively. And it seems like when you are struggling, people joke about, man, I'm in a funk. Every time I go to the plate, it's 0-2. That's what it feels like when you're struggling offensively, but the reality is that's what it's been like here for the Baldy.
Cal Gibson getting ready. Good take there on a splitter. Baltimore would love to have Kyle Gibson available to start tomorrow's game, but you don't get to tomorrow's game without winning this one. And Brandon Hyde said all hands on deck. They'll figure out tomorrow if they get there. Oh, 2-2. Turned it up to 97 that time.
Yeah, that was a great pitch right there. And that pitch, what it did is get him off the outside splitter that he just laid off of. So you get that fastball in, move him back, and then you throw a split away if you want. And he caught too much of the plate, but got an out.
3-1. Well, we're talking, John, about just take everything in the regular season that you think is going to apply to the postseason and throw it out here. When it comes to the Orioles, things that they had done well, they were the best team in baseball with runners in scoring position. They're 3 for 17 in those situations in the postseason. Best comeback team, haven't been able to complete a comeback. Scoring first was a big deal. Scored first and lost. And conversely for the Rangers, bullpen was a disaster. They've locked things down with the exception of giving up a few runs in the 9th inning on Sunday. All right, it's everything you think you know coming into the postseason seems to get turned on its head. How maddening for the people putting these teams together and thinking that they know. It's just so hard to.
Yeah, well, you think about a team that wins over 100 games. You think they relatively had kind of an easy ride to it. They had to grind all year because of the historic start that the Rays had. And they had to grind because most of those games were close. And so down the stretch, they were playing a lot of playoff games and then again had that 5-day off.
And Mountcastle stays alive. And both these GMs have done a fantastic job getting these franchises out of the dark days. Saw Mike Elias a moment ago, formerly of the Houston Astros, and said he felt uniquely qualified to take over in Baltimore because he had been there before. He had seen a team in the lowest of lows and thought that he could do the same for Baltimore. And he has, getting them back to the postseason. And Chris Young on the other side in his 3rd season as the GM. And he's been empowered by an owner who's been willing to spend. Seager and Simeon 2 off seasons ago, and then all the pitching this past off season, and what Chris Young did to get his old manager Bruce Bochy to become his manager. Now the 1-2 pitch, got him with a filthy splitter. The ALDS continues with Game 4 of Astros and Twins starting at 1 Eastern, followed by Braves Phillies on TBS. If necessary, the Orioles can rally. It'll be Orioles Rangers on FS1, Dodgers D-backs on TBS, and then a heads up that if tonight's series does end, then Astros Twins is going to move to 6:30 on FS1.
So when the new playoff system came out, you know, I was very intrigued to see how does a team in the 6th seed or maybe in the wild card, you know, that playoffs, how do they make a deep run? Well, I've noticed quickly.
O'Hearn snaps his 0 for 26.
Guess what? Another 2-out hit. I've noticed quickly that the best way to do it, sweep, and get into that next series. You know why? Because you don't burn those assets, and those same guys can keep pitching for you. The 2-game sweep, 2 days off, they didn't lose much coming into the Baltimore Orioles. If this trend continues here, 3-game sweep, they're not going to lose much whoever they play next because they're going to get to line up their pitching pretty much the way they want to. And that's how you make a deep run when you're asked to have another series to play before the best records and teams that have the bye.
And speaking of lining up the pitching, there's a chance it looks a whole lot different, a whole lot formidable in that championship series. Austin Hayes swings and misses. Max Scherzer would like to think that he's going to be ready to go for the CS if they get there. And John Gray, who was placed on the IL at the end of the regular season, there's a chance he's ready too. That completely changes the look of that group.
It really does. You talk about strength in numbers now instead of the only way that it looked like the path for the Texas Rangers was to exactly do what I said. Sweep, 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 because the depth of their starting pitching had been taking a hit.
Got him, and Nathan Eovaldi in 10 1/3 in this postseason. Just one run. Kyle Gibson takes over in the bottom of the 4th inning in this 6-0 game. In his first season in Baltimore, did really exactly what the Orioles signed him to do on a 1-year contract. He 8 innings. He won 15 games to lead the team. And say he's been a good leader too as a veteran guy for this young staff.
Yeah, it does a nice job just changing speeds, changing quadrants, a little this, take a little off, put a little on. He knows how to pitch, that's for sure.
Pitching against top of the order here, Marcus Semien. 2-0. Over the final month, Gibson went from kind of an afterthought to part of the conversation to start one of these games. He had a 2.45 ERA over the last month. You know, the John Means injury, him not being on the postseason roster, wound up being a big deal with really kind of the domino effect of that, where they had the quick starts to the 2 games over the weekend, didn't really have a long guy. If you have Means, somebody else gets kicked down there. Maybe you have Dean Kramer available to come into the game early. Didn't have that. And Means had pitched so well coming back from Tommy John. shot, but caught by Westberg.
I'm just telling you right now, again, if they play this exact same series 10 times, the outcome's going to drastically change. But in this 1 year, the Orioles had their pitching lined up the way they wanted it. Really, the Rangers didn't. But the Rangers have done everything you have to do to win a series because they've been that much better executing every facet of the game.
MVP chance for Seager, who chases strike one.
Because when you think about Bradish, game 1 advantage.
Yeah.
Grayson Rodriguez, game 2 advantage. Now this has been an advantage on paper with Eovaldi and the Texas Rangers.
It's hard also not to think back to the deadline a little bit, where both teams had needs and questions about their pitching and approached it completely differently. And the Rangers got Aroldis Chapman. They got their game 2 starter, of course Scherzer, who was good before the injury. The Orioles got a reliever that didn't make the playoff roster and a starter that didn't make the playoff rotation in Jack Flaherty. Two on to Seager.
Oh, but you could say that the 2 best teams in the American League didn't need as much, right? I mean, Tampa didn't do as much either, and even though they didn't do a whole lot, this team is set up for the future.
Another walk for Seager,
and they're going to be really good.
And that is the idea, right? It's sustainability, not jeopardizing that future by trading away your top prospects. But the other side of that is 101-win seasons and division champs. Do you not strike while the iron's hot? You know, like, I know that you want to sustain and be in it every year.
But it would be a little bit, I know where you're going, and it's valid, but there'd be a little bit different if they didn't make those moves and didn't win the division and didn't get the best record.
Yeah.
They did both of those things.
Right.
And so.
And also, at the time of the deadline, they didn't know they'd be a 101-win team. They didn't know that they were going to be a division champ. Future bright either way. Ball and a strike on Garver.
If baseball teams were stocks,
oh yeah,
I'm buying.
Better buy quick.
I'm buying.
Arrow's pointing up
in the Baltimore Orioles stock. That's where they're headed. And they may not win 100 games in the next 3 years. You don't have to win 100.
Roller to third, picked up by Westberg. The second one, and Frazier turns it to first, a double play. After 4 innings in Texas, 6-0 Rangers. First time in 7 years, one of them going to move on. The Rangers trying to make it them in a clean sweep, leading 2-0 and leading game 3 6-0 as we go to the 5th. Joe Davis, John Smoltz, Ken Rosenthal, and Cedric Mullins leads off the inning and takes strike 1 from Nathan Eovaldi. Three hits against Eovaldi, nothing to show for it. He's struck out 5. He's not walked anybody. And he's ahead 0-2 like he's been just about all night.
This is impressive. I mean, we've seen some great outings by Eovaldi, but he has come out and established everything you need to establish on the attack.
Years old from Elvin, Texas, outside of Houston. One of 10 big leaguers from Elvin, Texas. The first, Nolan Ryan. 2-2. And our pitcher profile sponsored by Google Pixel. Talking about it off at the top, but he's made his name as a big-time, big-game pitcher. 2.90 ERA in 12 postseason games. You know, that run that he had in 2018, pitching 3 times in 4 days, he did that even though he was going into free agency. It's a liner that's caught in right field by Garcia. He hadn't gotten a big contract yet. He dealt with several injuries throughout his career. Who knows what that was going to lead to? It could lead to an injury. It could lead to him not pitching well and ruining his case in free agency. But he did it anyways, got a ring, got a big contract.
Yeah, he gained a lot of respect, and the Boston Red Sox rewarded him knowing everything you just said. And it was the right thing to do. And they did it. And look, he's a lower half freak. I mean, his lower half is so strong.
Westberg bangs one to the left side. Base hit.
And he's evolving, literally, because he used to throw 100 miles an hour. And there were times when that 100 miles an hour was getting hit like it was 90. He was flat, and he made some changes to get behind the baseball and go downhill. The angle of release and where your fingers are on the baseball is so huge from that late life that hitters can't pick up.
Runner at first for Frazier. Oh, takes inside, ball 1. You'd rather have 95, 96 with that late life than 100 that's just flat and sits there.
Absolutely. You can generate and force velocity, but it's not as good as just natural. Like, there are smaller guys that can throw the ball 97. The ball pops out of their hand, genetics and mechanics and all that stuff. And then even their GM, Young, as tall as he was more of a finesse pitcher than he was a power pitcher, and used that to his advantage.
They say that he is a workout freak. You talk about the freakish lower half, big time squat guy. Although he's toned it back as his career has gone on, and he said that's been part of his evolution too. Not trying to PR every time that he goes in the weight room. Because how transferable is that to
No, it's
pitch,
not. And you'll last longer when you adjust in all those areas when you're young and strong and no body fat and get away with it. But to pitch 12 to 15 years, you've got to be able to adjust all of that.
Who knows? Off in his future, he could be going 2.5 miles on the elliptical daily.
Yeah,
he could be doing that, looking like Adonis
with 2 new hips.
Yeah. I don't know anybody like that, but it'd be impressive if I did. 2-2 to Frazier. Knocked down by Eovaldi. Thought about going to second, staggered a little bit, and threw to first. And the scoring position goes Westberg. First run of the Orioles have had there.
All right, I'm gonna call it.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna say that. No, he's not up yet. Never mind.
Rutschman going to swing at the first pitch.
Yep.
Is that going to be the call?
Yep.
Save it. He will be up. Gunnar Henderson's up right now. And we talked about it at the start of this series. Not many people nationally had a full appreciation for this guy yet, but he's had an impressive postseason. 4 for 10 with a home run. Tops his first pitch foul.
There's a lot to like. I mean, simple at the plate. He's probably going to improve and upgrade against left-handed pitching. Loves facing right-handed pitching, and of course his defense is way above average at shortstop.
Great combination of tools, but also, like you said, his jersey's always dirty, scrapper, gamer, all those baseball cliches, and he swats one into right field. He's got a base hit. Here comes the throw from Garcia, not in time, and Gunnar Henderson has Baltimore on the board, scoring Jordan Westburg with his second hit of the game.
They needed that.
Drives in another.
The Baltimore Orioles needed that for their psyche, and just again crawl back in this game and create some kind of tension for Texas. Cutter didn't really do much right there. Stayed inside the plate the whole time. Didn't get to where he couldn't barrel that one up. See how beautiful that swing was. He hit it so hard it might have been a problem at home plate. But great anticipation with 2 outs. Ooh, man, maybe not a great slide.
Is that just the thing with the Orioles? Henderson
he got
had a face
stuck. His hand got stuck.
Gosh.
Oh, golly.
It's the same thing Henderson did on Sunday. Gunnar saying, no, don't do it.
Oh, at least his helmet came off. Henderson's kind of stayed there and got him in the eye. All right.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, it's a good meeting by Mike Maddox, but this would be the time right here to be aggressive, come out of what you normally do and take the first pitch.
11 plate appearances, has not swung at the first pitch, make it 12, and
he was ready to, though. Did you see his action right there? That ball just ate him up inside, so he was prepared to swing at the first pitch, and it just was tied him up on the inside part of the plate.
Does he often look to you like he's auto taking?
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like that's his game plan, and that's why he can work the count.
And that's who he's been. Like you said, he's been one of the most patient guys in the AL, and it's worked well. Third in on-base percentage.
It's a funnier story when Big Papi tells it. Of course, we'll see Big Papi in pre and post next series, as we do every series. But he took the first pitch a lot until he didn't against me and hit it a long ways.
And the story behind that story is that morning, Big Papi talked to his dad, who said, they're not paying you to walk, they're paying you to swing. You better be swinging. And so you go up there, think you're grooving strike one, and
oh, I got caught, boy. Hand in the cookie jar, and went straight away center and smoked.
Not paying you to walk. One, two, Rutschman fouls it off and stays alive.
And that's the thing. It only takes one time, right? Just to kind of get people to go, wait. Just got to change it a little bit every once in a while.
Jeez. Training staff's getting too good at taking care of those. First time Eovaldi's really had to sweat. 3 singles through the first 4 innings. Nobody advanced past first. 2 singles here in the 5th. Played in the first run. Rutschman in a spot here with 1 swing. He could change the mood of this game. Behind 1 and 2, though.
Oh, he got his pitch. Eovaldi left the split out over the plate. See that split finger grip, and see how that ball just kind of hovers over them. That's not where the split goes. That split's supposed to disappear on the outside part of the plate, and he just missed it.
Another 1-2. Pulls a fastball down the line, and it nestles just foul. Just foul. Getting on the phone, seeing what the replay room thinks, and reading lips. Foul. He said foul. Blazer, first base umpire, the pivot.
Just, I mean, oh my.
So close. And hey, we normally we only talk about umpires when they get one wrong. Heck of a call right there, Corey Blazer.
This series has been really good for the umpires. Of course, they got extra umpires down the line in the playoffs.
It's going to be the 8th pitch from Eovaldi. Rutschman shoots it foul again.
He hasn't thrown a split in the height of the plate where it starts at the catcher's knees and then almost bounces. That's the pitch you got to look to get for a swing and a miss. That split starts over the middle of the plate, knee high, but ends up down at the shin guards of the catcher.
That's how he struck Rutschman out in the first inning.
Right there. He wants that pitch on the inside part to be able to get to the height of it and then have it dive out of the way.
Roller, backhanded second, Simeon, and he gets Rutschman. Orioles get on the board, settle for one, halfway home, and Nathan Eovaldi trying to go to 2-0 in a Rangers uniform in the postseason. 6-1 they lead. Back to the 2023 American League Division Series on Fox, presented by Booking.com. First postseason Rangers game in this ballpark, which hosted the 2020 postseason. Rangers, though, first time here in the postseason. Adolis Garcia, 3-run home run in that 5-run second. Production, passion, energy. They love this guy around here.
Tell you what, I got to give him a lot of credit. He can expand the zone with the best of them, and he can hunt for homers, but he has made the most of the mistakes that he's gotten, and he hasn't missed them. I mean, that was it. Game 1, he struck out a bunch. Shadows. In the last 2 games, he's been much better.
Bruce Bochy says the whole team feeds off of that persona, that energy that he brings.
Yeah, the theme of this game, it could easily be that with 2-0, most of the counts for the Orioles, and 0-2, most of the counts for the Rangers. They're just putting the pressure in the right areas and at the right moments.
There's 2 on pitch, chops it foul. The count evens 2-2.
Well, Garcia, if this was a video game, that's what it would look like.
Except with a bat.
Yeah.
Two to Garcia. He's down swinging, and Kyle Gibson with a strikeout. Well, the rest of the teams in the playoffs combined are averaging a little more than 3 runs per game. Rangers above 6.
Yeah, they have definitely flipped the script. They were cold down the stretch in the season.
2 runs a game over the final weekend, blowing the division.
Against a really good team. The Seattle Mariners can pitch, but you figure, okay, I'm going to go all that way from Seattle to Tampa, and it doesn't look good for the Rangers to get here.
Evan Carter muscles this one to short, and Henderson.
And really, all they've done is hit since then.
There is some people around the Rangers who, and it's easy to say this now, but are thinking that having to actually go down to St. Pete to play that wild card round instead of coming here as the division champs and chilling for a week, they think that it's the reason that they're doing what they're doing, that it galvanized them, it ticked them off, galvanized them, and allowed them to get that offense going. Because like you said, it was scuffling. They go down to Tampa and take off.
That's a tough way to do it, though. That's an angry flight. That's an emotional. But this is a veteran team, so maybe that's part of the things that allowed them to kind of. And let's look. We can't give, and we will give Bruce Bochy his due. He is one of the best managers. He's a Hall of Fame manager, and he was the right guy for every single second of this season. What was expected to what was delivered, and my gosh, every time we show it, I still can't believe he's won his last 12 postseason series. Can't believe it. It's got to be a typo.
Heim flies this one to center. Mullins is there, and that's the inning. 1-2-3 for Kyle Gibson. Broadcast is sponsored by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Corey Seager started things with a home run tonight, and in his postseason career here at Globe Life Field, where he was the MVP in 2020, he has hit .361, 8 home runs, and 20 RBIs in 17 games. 3-4-5 against Nathan Eovaldi in a 6-1 game. Anthony Santander to Seager. Shows off the glove right there using that 6'4" length. Timing is everything. Good producing, Pete Macheska.
First pitch outs are huge. And they get one shifted over, and the big shortstop covers some ground. And you know, timing is everything with starting pitching too. You know, everyone talks about homers, and there's no doubt when you out homer your team, you are going to win a lot of baseball games. But there's another trend that is overlooked in the postseason. And that starting pitchers going 6 innings where the opposing team doesn't have a starter that goes 6 innings. And what did we say the numbers were?
Well, even if the other team gets a good start, 29-8 team record when a starter goes 6+. When you're the only team that gets it in that game, teams are 29-2 since the start of last postseason.
That's a pretty good number to have when you can get starting pitching to go 6, 7, 8 innings. And the Texas Rangers have had a few of those already in this short postseason.
Here's an 0-2 to Ryan Mountcastle. Shoots his ball to first. Easy one for Lowe. 2 gone in the 6th. Eovaldi and out away from joining that category for the 2nd time in as many starts this postseason.
You know, his stamina, and talking to Bruce Bochy, they said, man, if we'd have had a redo, we probably would have had him come back and do some rehab starts. They brought him along in the big leagues, and he was struggling mightily in those games, had a high ERA, and then all of a sudden he started to get his legs under him, and now he looks more like the Eovaldi that they saw in the first half of the season before he got hurt.
Thing is, though, they were desperate for anybody to pitch in September, and so instead of sending him on those rehab starts, said, hey, you're going to go through it here. So we don't have anybody else. That's how injured they were. They've already pitched to a 9 ERA in those 6 games in September, and was one of the concerns coming into the postseason.
Yeah, but after July 29th, after April 29th to July 18th, he was 9-1 with a 1.97.
Oh,
he
yeah.
was rolling, and then that injury, and he gave up 7 home runs after that IL stint. There's the numbers you're talking about, the last 6 starts. But I'd only given up 8 home runs in the first 123 innings, so you know he wasn't quite right.
Bouncing ball to Corey Seager. That is a 1-2-3-6. And that's 6 strong innings from Nathan Eovaldi, his latest postseason gem. Customize your home feed with your favorite postseason team. Watch daily recaps, get personalized stats, highlights, and breaking news every day, all on the MLB app. Download it today. A couple scoreless innings from Kyle Gibson, keeping the Orioles in relative striking distance, 6-1 to the bottom of the sixth.
He sure has, and he's just done the little things of getting it off the plate a little bit. Ground ball double play, taking the meat out of the bat of the strike zone.
Bottom of the order, ball one on low. 0 for 2 today, 1 for 10 in this series. Ball one strike. Kyle Gibson drafted 14 years ago in the first round by the Minnesota Twins. Debuted in 2013, 7 years in Minnesota, dealt with a lot of injuries there. And then he came here to Texas for a year and a half. There's Lowe getting a hold of one. He finally finds it in a big way.
Well, we were talking about him having a hard time getting the barrel of the bat to the ball, but we mentioned that 15 pitch at bat. Maybe that got him going a little bit. Fastball inner half, and look at his hands and the timing. And you can just tell, finally, batting practice puts on a display. In the game, they were beating him with fastballs, one over the middle part of the plate, and maybe that at bat, again, got him more locked in, and who knows what the rest of the postseason is going to be like for him.
Third home run of this game for the Texas Rangers, and a 7-1 lead as they get that run back. The Orioles had scratched off in the fifth. Josh Young is 1 for 2 and has hit it hard both times. Hits it hard again. Left center field. Mullins on the move to the gap, has room. Just missed it. One gone in the sixth.
We're talking to Bruce Bochy. He said this man is so strong, and he can put on a unbelievable display in batting practice. And you can see how happy that entire team is, not to mention himself. And there's Bruce like, yeah.
Top of the or bottom of the order here at Taveras. Taking just outside. John, I keep going back to just the length of this lineup. And I know you're not going to score 6 runs a game without having a long lineup. But go through the guys down there at the bottom. Jonah Heim was an all-star. Nathaniel Lowe was a Silver Slugger last year. That's a great pick right there by Mountcastle. Round number 2. Then it's another all-star in Young, who might have won Rookie of the Year had he stayed healthy. And then Leody Taveras is having a great postseason. Those are the last 4 guys in the lineup.
And we talked about it. It is definitely why this is just a really good play. He just good hands at first base. It's why the guy at the plate right now was a benefactor, and we talked about it. There's only been 3 leadoff hitters to get 100+ RBIs. When the bottom of your order is doing that,
Guy's had a long career, Marcus Semien. Kenny, he is on the verge of doing something he's never done.
Joey's 33 years old, one of the game's great professionals. He's been in 4 postseasons now. This is his 4th, but he's never been to an LCS, never been to a World Series. He told me he's been on teams that were just a little bit short. Talented, but not quite there. This team, he feels, has all the pieces.
And this team is 9 outs away as we go to the 7th. Nathaniel Lowe, who is 6 for his last 56. Sweet release, sweet smile, 7-1 Texas. For this postseason, get the best 5G coverage in the game with T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Rangers have hit 3 home runs in this game. They lead 7-1. On to the 7th inning. Nathan Eovaldi still going. Austin Hayes leads off. And that's ball 1. Now, the last complete game in the postseason was in 2017 when Justin Verlander did it. Eovaldi's always a good candidate for it. He's had 4 complete games over the last 2 years. 81 pitches here. He's been so efficient tonight.
Well, his splitter's a key, and he's been really good. He's made 1 or 2 mistakes with it in the zone. The Orioles have only got a chance to capitalize on him once, and he's keeping the ball down. And yes, it's easier to pitch with a 6-run lead than a 1-run lead. Mike Maddox, one of the best in the game. And a hole-in-one machine, by the way.
Yeah.
You know what?
Let's get back to the hole-in-one thing real quick. You like golf, but you like college football too. So let me tell you a little bit about what's coming up on Saturday. Big noon Saturday. Indiana takes on second-ranked Michigan, followed by Iowa and Wisconsin. And in prime time, UCLA and Oregon State, all on Fox. So hole-in-one machine.
Yeah, if you believe in trends, if you believe in fate. When Mike Maddox was with the Washington Nationals, he got 2 hole-in-ones on the same round. The Nationals went on to win the World Series the year that nobody won a home game. This year, in a charity event, he got a hole-in-one. So I'm just saying, if you know, maybe his golf and hole-in-ones to the team he's part of.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's his 11th one.
Jeez, how many do you have?
11.
You guys both have 11?
We do.
Wow. Next one wins. First to 12, as they say. Full count on Hayes. You know, he's probably not been talked about enough. The effect that Mike Maddox has had. Yeah, Bruce Bochy comes here, and that's a big deal. But Mike Maddox, they lure here from St. Louis, and this guy's been doing it a long time. His 21st year as a pitching coach. Second stint in Texas. He was around the last time they won the pennant. 2020, 2010, 2011. And his pitcher tonight, Nathan Eovaldi, has his 6th K.
Fastball paint. Locked him up.
Rangers pitching this postseason, 2.36 ERA. Yeah, they can bludgeon you with the bats, but they have pitched as well. Mullins flies out to left. Kenny?
Guys, if this score holds, it will be the 11th straight loss by an AL East team in the postseason. Go back to last year's ALCS, Yankees swept by the Astros. This year in the wild card round, Blue Jays and Rays swept. The Orioles would be swept here if they lose. That would be 0-11 for a division that we all think of as so powerful.
It'll be the 8th postseason loss in a row for the Orioles, and those 3 teams you mentioned, the Orioles, the Rays, the Blue Jays, will have the longest active losing streaks in the postseason since the Minnesota Twins ended theirs. Last time the Orioles won a postseason game was 2014, game 3 of the division series. Delman Young's 8th inning bases clearing double sent him to the ALCS. Oh, 2 Jordan Westburg. One-two pitch. Right where he wanted it. 97 with his 91st pitch. Kinds of games they got him for. Nathan Eovaldi.
The other thing this does, if it goes according to this score, I mean, similar to what JT Realmuto does for the Phillies, Hines caught a ton of games in a row.
Yeah, this is his 19th consecutive game started behind the plate.
I mean, he's had some off days, but still, that's impressive.
Said adrenaline's a heck of a drug this time of year. You get a few day break if they hang on to this. 3-2. Now it's interesting. If they win today, their next game's not going to be until Sunday. That's bordering on the kind of layoff that the top teams went through going into the division series. They're going to have 4 days off before game 1 of the championship series. That game will be either in Houston or Minneapolis if Texas does hang on here.
You know, no player ever answers this question, nor should they. They always ask a team, who would you want to play? Da, 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 da. I guarantee you every one of them secretly would like their crosstown rivalry.
Every one of them, every one of these 40,000, every Rangers fan out there. We're going to get a tour bus if that happens. We're going to like get in there and get
film crew and everything.
Film crew, somebody with a
thing.
guitar. Let's go.
A lot of work still to be done for Houston. But a big win today on the road in Minnesota.
10th pitch here. 3-2. They, like the Rangers have done, knockout blow right away. Just a staggering punch out of the gates. They got 4 runs in the first inning. Did the Astros today. 98th pitch of the game from Nathan Eovaldi. And big game Nate has done it again. Nathan Eovaldi. First Rangers postseason game here at Globe Life. He gets a curtain call after 7 innings and just 1 run. They love him. They love Corey Seager, the Chant MVP, as Seager takes the ball from DL Hall. So Eovaldi in this postseason, 13 1/3 and just 1 run. Clincher in the wild card round. A couple innings away from this being the clincher in the division series. Over there with Jordan Montgomery and with Jacob DeGrom. Seager pops this one up, and it's a reminder of, the starting rotation was supposed to be why this team was scary. They go out and sign all the guys they did, Eovaldi and DeGrom being the headliners of that group. But there were 4 starting pitchers that they signed this offseason. DeGrom goes down with the injury. They bring in Scherzer. So you look at what the rotation was to begin the year, what it is now, and then what it could be in the ALCS. And Kenny, as we start to hear all about Scherzer and Gray maybe coming back, how real is all that?
It's real, Joe. And when the Texas Rangers put John Gray on the injured list the final weekend of the season, they knew he'd be out through at least the division series, but they thought he could recover from that lower forearm strain by the ALCS if they got there. Scherzer is a different story. Now, he has that right teres major strain, but he too could be back. He's trending in the right direction. Remember, they didn't put him on the roster for this series because they thought he could only give them maybe an inning if they got to a game 4.
So on scoops by in the left, base hit for Garver.
But in an ALCS situation, if he is active and if Gray is active, their staff suddenly becomes very deep and very versatile. Remember, they have Andrew Heaney, they have Dane Dunning, they have Martin Perez, all capable of giving them length. And Joe, you talked before about how the Orioles were hurt by the loss of Means. It deprived them of the long man. The Rangers will have any number of ways they can go if those 2 guys are healthy.
Yeah, that makes it like 7 guys they would have that are starters. Not all of them going to be built up to starters' workloads, but that's going to allow Bruce Bochy, one of the great managers of pitching staff, especially in the postseason ever. He's going to have all these options to go to.
Changes the narrative for him big time, and he gives him an extra boost because now, if they were to win this game, there's time to figure that out. You get to test in the off days, does Scherzer and Gray, and you get to make a good decision rather than a guess at a decision for that roster spot moving forward.
Adolis Garcia, 2 out of 3 today with a 3-run home run at 5-run second.
This guy's got an unbelievable arm, man. I'm telling you right now.
It's another one of those young guys. We haven't talked much about DL Hall, but he impressed in the first game, and he's going to be part of the good future as well.
Got a great arm.
First round pick, 2017. A lot of this year in AAA and just down at the team's facility trying to get healthy. He was dealing with a back issue. Came up in late August for good and has been good since. He's facing Evan Carter here. Well, the Rangers have been on the road for 15 days, coming off this 15-day trip. If any of them complain, Evan Carter can maybe say to him, hey, hold my room key. He woke up today, John, in a hotel room for the 44th straight day.
And I bet you he's super happy about it.
Right.
Getting called up, and really, I don't know if he thought he'd be in this situation in huge games, but it doesn't bother him.
Started on August 26th, this long trip, and I don't imagine it was Ritz-Carlton in Springdale, Arkansas, but he's in Springdale, Arkansas when he was in AA. It's called up to AAA 3 days after that, to the big leagues a week after that, and even when he's been quote-unquote home here with the Rangers, he's staying in a hotel because he was a September call-up. He didn't know how long he was going to stick, and now that he's in that hotel, he doesn't know when he's going to check out. Nobody does. They're hoping that it's not until November. Otis Chapman getting ready as Carter takes strike 2. about these rookies in this postseason? We came into the playoffs, Sean, talking about how many good young guys there are across baseball. And Corbin Carroll, the Diamondbacks, along with Carter, first two rookies in baseball history to reach base safely 12 times in their first 4 postseason games.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, that is not supposed to happen. Credit those guys.
Carter's made it 13 in 5 games tonight. Single back in the first inning. That is 13 times in 20 plate appearances. And a quick word from Corona. Evan Carter just got the right to have a Corona a few weeks ago, turned 21. Strike 3 call. DL Hall with another impressive inning. Through a 7 in Texas. Fox has made a $1 million donation to United Jewish Appeal, it's UJA, as they mobilize to provide urgent relief to those impacted by the atrocities in Israel. If you'd like to join with Fox with your support, go to www.ujafedny.org. 7-1 game here in Texas. Jorge Mateo pinch hitting for Adam Frazier and facing Aroldis Chapman, who is in there with strike 1. Chapman's been living on the edge for better part of his time in Texas, but he's also found a way to get out of those jams that he's been in. We saw over the weekend in Baltimore. How many times we've seen that? Bruce Bochy even said, I feel like I've seen 100 times that Aroldis Chapman movie from Saturday where he walks a guy and winds up getting out of it. There's 1-1 to Mateo.
Well, tonight's been a pitching display by the Rangers. 20 of the 26 first pitch were strikes. Set the tone. A lot of 0-2. The strike percentage out of Eovaldi was in the 70s%, which is really hard to do.
2-2. Yeah, officially, he had 77% of his pitches were strikes, and I hate to get too numbers heavy on here, but that is the second highest strike percentage on record. That's back to 2000. Andy Pettitte, Game 2 of the World Series in 2001. The only time that a guy has thrown strikes at a higher rate than Eovaldi tonight. There's another strikeout. Mateo down swinging.
I mean, it's hard to do in the postseason because of the intensity and everything that's going on, and you don't have to worry about Chapman's intensity. He usually comes out sweat dripping all over the place, and 101 miles an hour fastballs.
The 1-0-2 there to finish off Mateo. Back to the top, and Gunnar Henderson. Chapman deals on the corner with 101. Westberg scored the only run of this game for the Orioles. Henderson drove him in as part of his 2-for-3 game. Good first postseason impression that Gunnar Henderson has made at the age of 22. And his year is going to end with him likely getting named Rookie of the Year. Bounces 101 through the middle into center field. His third hit of the game. Going to be the first Rookie of the Year for the Orioles in 34 years. Greg Olson in '89. A quick word from FanDuel.
FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
Now to Selma, Alabama, where his dad made a baseball field in their backyard. Adley Rutschman takes a little low. Well, Henderson's gone 5 of 11 in his first postseason. Rutschman 1 of 11. Oh! 2-0.
Two close pitches and laid off both of them. Chapman is kind of, I won't say reinvented himself, but he's gone to that two-seam fastball now a little more often. It used to be just strictly four-seam, and he had that split and slider. And now his two-seamer has been a pretty good out pitch.
They're below 100, the average against it. Henderson in first, one gone, 8th inning. Rutschman pops one right center field. Garcia calling off Tavares. Throw number 2. Play Ball is baseball's global youth initiative to highlight the fun and accessible ways to play our great game. To learn more, including how to find a league near you, go to playball.org and follow @playball on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Anthony Santander has had his best year in the middle of this magical year for the Orioles. 28 homers in the regular season to lead the team. Hit another one in the first game of this division series. And Brandon Hyde said that one of his favorite things of this season has been being able to see the smile on Santander's face each day. So many tough days and long years that this guy endured. 7th year, all of them with the Orioles. Got him in the Rule 5 draft before 2017 from Cleveland, which meant that he got to go to the big leagues having never played above A-ball. He wasn't ready, but the Orioles liked him. In order to keep him, they had to put him in the majors. Did enough to stick around. Spot duty his first couple of years. Full-time big leaguer, about 5 years now. Longest tenured guy, one of the veteran leaders. Takes a walk here. ALDS continues. Game 4, Astros Twins tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern. And then it's the Braves and the Phillies on TBS. If necessary, if the Orioles can rally, Game 4 this series will be on FS1, then Dodgers D-backs on TBS. If this score holds here, then Astros Twins is going to move to 6:30. And how about today? 2 home runs from Jose Abreu, 3 extra base hits, including a homer from Yordan Alvarez, and Christian Javier, who has struggled mightily this year, 5 scoreless. Maddox for a visit with Chapman. The Hank Aaron Award is awarded annually to the best offensive performer in each league, and you can cast your vote for the top offensive performer by scanning the QR code or enter at MLB.com/Aaron. Now the Orioles trying to make one last rally. Down 6. Powerful Ryan Mountcastle's at the plate with 2 on and 2 out in the 8th.
He is very aggressive. Early count. Swinger.
Oh, no. 1 and 2. Go. Leclerc getting ready. He's pitched in every game of the postseason so far. Doesn't look like they're going to take any chances. 2-0 on Mountcastle. One of the best hitters in the AL in the second half of the season. Even more impressive when you consider how his first half ended. He had vertigo. Missed a month. Had a month where he's wondering if he'd ever feel right again. On Mountcastle.
Well, that is not what Bruce Bochy had in mind. He wanted to get Chapman some work and created a little bit of a jam here now. 3-0.
Hicks is on deck. 4-pitch walk to load the bases. That's a 7-1 game, but Chapman erratic here, making things a little bit too close for comfort.
Well, this will be his last hitter for sure, one way or another.
And it will be Hicks to pinch hit for O'Hearn.
And this will be his last.
You meant that was his last hitter, right?
Yeah.
Bruce Bochy's going to go to the clerk as soon as Hicks is introduced.
My place.
Now, when the game finishes, stay tuned for the post-game show presented by Wagoneer by Jeep. Kevin Burkhardt, A-Rod, David Ortiz, and Derek Jeter.
I'm still not over that home run, David Ortiz.
I say time heals all wounds, but a lot of time has passed. I just don't know if you're ever gonna.
No.
Whatever.
Well, here's a tight situation where Hicks can really make this interesting. Last time Leclerc came into this situation, the Orioles jumped on the first couple pitches.
And it was Hicks who's pinch hitting here that took him deep. Ball one from Leclerc. So Hicks pinch hitting for Ryan O'Hearn. The Rangers have been able to avoid close games for the most part in this postseason. And so their biggest weakness, the bullpen, has been exposed less than it otherwise would. And that was kind of the equation to survive the regular season. The pen was not good, but they had played in so many blowout games because their offense is so good. A lot of times it didn't matter. 6-run cushion here. Hicks trying to take a huge chunk out of it. But down 1-2. Two of the team's 4 hits with runners in scoring position in this series.
Got to cut down a swing just a little bit now with 2 strikes. Got to find a way to make contact. Every pitcher knows bases loaded 2-2. This is your action pitch. You want your best pitch to be had right here. You don't want to get to 3-2.
That's a good take, and it does go to 3-2, John.
That was an action pitch that the hitter just somehow laid off of. This was a really good slider that most times out of not would have got a swing.
Bases loaded, 2 out, 3-2. Hicks grounds it foul. This Orioles team has captured the city with a never say die persona all year. Trying to do it one more time.
And they sure have.
Bouncing ball to first. Lowe's got it. Feeds Leclerc, and that's the inning. This is sponsored by Geico. It's easy to Geico. Bottom of the 8th inning back here in Texas. Rangers, the first team this postseason to have multiple pitchers go 7 innings. They had Jordan Montgomery do it in the wild card round. They had Nathan Eovaldi do it tonight. Yeah, the strength of a 5-run second inning from his offense at 7-1 here in the last of the 8th. Jonah Heim leads off. 1 ball, 1 strike.
It's weird how things work out, isn't it? We talked to Bruce Bochy, and he said, man, we flew over Dallas basically from Seattle to Tampa. Could have had those 5 days off, and if things work out the way they are right now, he's going to get those days off in just a different way and probably even more exciting.
1-2. Mateo's at short. You saw Westberg at second. Trying to punch the first ticket to the Final Four. It would be their first trip to the championship series since they won back-to-back pennants in 10 and 11. There's the heartbreaking finish of the Fall Classic of 2011, one of the best World Series of recent memory. Last time the Rangers advanced that far to the CS. Heim sends one the other way. Santander's going back at the wall with room. Still 1 gone in this 8th inning. The Orioles going to have 1 more shot. Hayes, Mullins, and Westberg coming up. And going to need some kind of heroic finish. No matter how this ends, though, does not diminish the 101-win regular season, and certainly doesn't diminish how bright the future is.
Oh, there is no doubt. I just keep going back to spring training, expectations, and nobody of any kind of expertise thought, A, they could win that division. Maybe win the division is a little more believable than 100 wins in that division. And the future for Baltimore Orioles fans is in great hands. The organization's done it to where they now have a window of winning for a lot longer than just a couple years.
It's been the greatest 2-year turnaround in baseball history, from losing 110 in 2021 to winning 101 this year. Future is bright, and I know I speak on behalf of all of us. We're glad that it is, because we love going and doing games at Camden Yards, one of the best places in baseball.
And they're not done bringing up bright young stars either. Jackson Holliday should more than likely be up next year. Be interesting to see where they play him and where they fit him in. Son of Matt Holliday. I'm old, man. My last year in St. Louis, when Matt Holliday was there, and after every game his boys would come running in, they'd go to the cage, they'd hit, they were little tykes, you know, and now he's going to make his debut next year.
And do they finally make a push in free agency? Mike Elias hasn't handed out a multi-year contract since taking over the job 5 years ago. We talked about striking while the iron is hot.
Yeah,
it's getting hotter.
I think they are in a better position to
2 out. Slow goes down swinging.
To navigate that now, knowing what they have. You find out a lot, right? These 3 games didn't go the way they had hoped, but you find out a lot about young players and what they're made of when they go through this, and we told you all documented the year. So they're telling you.
And part of the future right there, DL Hall. A couple good games of relief work. 1 more relief. Here's Cano. Taveras and the Braves saved their season last night, didn't they? On the verge of going down 2-0. They get the 2 late home runs and the defensive play to finish the game to even the series up. Dodgers could not do that, so they head to Arizona down 2-0 as the heavy favorites. Series went up to Minneapolis, tied at 1. Astros with a big first inning rolled today to take a 2-1 series advantage. And here in Texas, Rangers are 3 outs away from sweeping the Orioles and taking the first spot in the championship series. Junior Cano on to pitch with 2 gone in the 8th.
Having a great year. Was primarily the setup before the Mountain Man, who is just Bautista, so good, and unfortunately going to miss next year. Tommy John surgery. You know, you said you're starting to believe that nothing matters in regular season. Well, if the Texas Rangers go on, they were 4-9 against the Houston Astros and 2-5 against Minnesota. So it doesn't matter.
Rangers fans got to like my theory then.
Yeah.
Nothing matters, folks. Josh Young with 2 gone in this 8th. Takes a strike from Cano. Again, game 1 of the championship series will be on Sunday. Tapped along third. Won't be an easy play. Henderson gets rid of it. Not in time. And Young's got an infield hit. Second hit of the game. 5th of the series.
Take him any way you can get him. He had to come a long way.
Two out for Taveras. Took a ball. Well, Taveras, the only guy in this Rangers lineup tonight yet to get a hit. He's had a hit in each of the first 4 games this postseason, but 0 for 3 today. Off the end of the bat. In center field, it's Mullins. On to the 9th inning we go in Arlington. Rangers 3 outs away from the championship series. Do the Orioles have one miracle left in them? 5 postseason games for the Rangers, 5 appearances from Jose Leclerc. He's looking to get 4 outs to finish this one off and get the Rangers to the championship series. Orioles have Hayes, Mullins, and Westberg coming up in the 9th. Strike 1, 97, fouled back. Bruce Bochy in his first season as the manager. This team 2 years removed from losing 101 games. Even last year, they lost 94, even after they had gotten Seager and they had gotten Simeon, and they were getting back to respectability with those names. They go out and invest in pitching, and they get Bruce Bochy. And it's hard to quantify what that has meant for this team. Straight up, straight down, 1 down. But he takes over, one of the great postseason managers the game has ever seen. Yeah, the hope was to continue to, keep the arrow pointing up. Not only did he do that, not only has he taken them from 94 wins to the postseason, but they are now 2 outs away from a championship series, legitimate threats to win it all. 1 gone for Cedric Mullins. Grounded to second. There's Simeon. 2 gone in the 9th.
Well, been there, done that. Does not guarantee all the time, but that's the pedigree of Bruce Bochy. He's been through every scenario. This was a team expected to win. He was brought in for this very purpose. It wasn't a smooth. It was a roller coaster year, even though they were in first place a lot. We mentioned the uncertainty of the bullpen. The offense disappeared at times. But honestly, the greatest example of the whole year was what happened in Seattle to Tampa to here. That speaks volumes of his leadership.
His touch, his calm. Such a streaky team. But they are red hot at the right time. And the Texas Rangers are going to the championship series. Bruce Bochy's club sweeps the 101-win Baltimore Orioles. Hot stretch at the right time. And for the first time since 2011, the Rangers are going to play in the American League Championship Series.
If you think about it, they've already beat the 2 best records in the American League. And so they're like, why not? Why not us?
Nathan Eovaldi does it tonight. 2-0 in the postseason. 6 1/3 in the clinching game of the wild card series. 7 innings in the clinching game of the division series. And you heard the chants beginning in the 9th inning. The Astros with a 2-1 lead in the series over the Twins. This crowd started to chant, "We want Houston." Will it be a battle of Texas? A battle for the American League.
Well, so many choices of players that you could. There's no MVP in this series.
Who would you give it to?
I'd give it to Garver.
Would you?
I just think he played only 2 games. He had 7 RBIs. He had, 4 or 5 hits. And that grand slam in Baltimore kind of really put a damper in the Orioles. And Bruce had a feeling. He's like, I'm going to put him in the 3 spot. And that feeling paid off, and certainly this team's filled with MVP-type candidates in any series. But This has a chance to be an epic run. And I don't mean that because they weren't supposed to be here. It's just the route they've taken. And the route they've taken is not what you would think could run the table and win the World Series. But that man right there, he sure hopes so. And so does he.
Bruce Bochy has a chance to become the 6th manager in baseball history to win 4 World Series. Down to Ken Rosenthal.
Thanks, Joe. Nate, it's been a bumpy ride, but you guys are going to the American League Championship Series. You've been on 6 different teams. You know what it's like to pitch in the postseason. What is it about this team that makes it so special?
I mean, I think the offense says a lot. You know what I mean? Like, they're able to come out every night, put up quality at bats, everything like that. You know, when we were able to put up some runs in the 2nd inning, for me, it kind of changed the game plan. And it was attack the hitters even more so and go after them and, you know, try to get the guys back in the dugout as fast as possible.
7 innings, 1 run. What have you learned over the years that has made you so successful in October?
I think it's just more so trusting my pitches. You know, I have a game plan going in, but, you know, it's going to change at times. I had a really good feel for my splitter tonight. Jonah did an amazing job calling the game tonight. I felt like we had a good game plan. And, I mean, coming in this series, leading at 2-0 in front of this crowd, the fans were absolutely incredible. The energy was here all night long. Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun.
This crowd gave you a curtain call. What was that like for you?
Oh, it was incredible. You know, I've never really had that. When we went back to Boston this year, I'd gotten it, but, you know, never really to that stature. You know what I mean? It was awesome, and I'm extremely grateful for it.
Hey, congratulations. Joe, back to you.
All right, Kenny, and he will be part of a rotation that may look a little bit different in the championship series with the impending returns of Max Scherzer and John Gray. Tonight, though, is all about Nathan Eovaldi. 7 innings in the first postseason game with the Rangers involved here at Globe Life Field.
They waited a long time to have that home crowd take care of their team, and they're hoping they get a few more home crowds, because this place, much like Philly last year, you could tell the crowd, they want it.
Starved. 7 years since their last postseason trip. 12 years since they advanced this far. Back-to-back American League pennants in 2010, 2011. And the Texas Rangers in the 52nd year of the franchise. 52nd year since the franchise relocated from Washington, where they were the Senators. They've never brought home the whole thing. Back down to Kenny.
Thanks, Joe. Bruce, you came back because you wanted to experience this again. What are your emotions right now going to the ALCS?
It's unreal. This is what I came back for, hoping something like this would happen. I know how blessed I am to be in this situation. And these guys have been warriors, road warriors. I mean, we've been through a lot. And to be right now, I mean, there's work to be done, but still, well, I mean, what kind of baseball they've been playing has just been awesome.
You're 5-0 in the postseason after that difficult final weekend. What changed?
You know, it's a matter of getting hot. You know, these guys got hot after a really tough series there in Seattle. Couldn't quite get it done there. Had to go to Tampa. These guys put that behind them, and they've been doing that all year. They've been putting those tough losses. It's just incredible what they just did.
Nathan Eovaldi was hurt, came back. He struggled. He's put it together in the playoffs. What did you see from him tonight?
Well, he got back to where he was. I mean, we might push him a little early, but here he is back to being the guy that we had earlier in the season. And what a game he threw. What a game he threw in Tampa. That's what it takes. The guy on the mound sets the tone, and he did today.
Bruce, you've managed 3 World Series champions. Can this be the 4th?
Well, that's what we're here for. You know, that's why we play the game. So getting closer and closer. So get the work cut out, but and we can't thank the fans enough, too. I got to thank them again.
Bruce, thanks a lot. Congratulations. Joe, back to you.
Kenny, he thanks them. They thank him. Rangers first team into the semifinal round of the bracket. They await the winner of the Astros and the Twins, who will play Game 4 tomorrow. The Astros 1 win away from making it at all. Texas American League Championship Series. Nathan Eovaldi leads the way tonight. Leclerc finishes it off, and the Texas Rangers have swept the Baltimore Orioles. They will play in the ALCS beginning on Sunday. Coming up after the break, we'll send you back to L.A. Kevin Burkhardt, Alex Rodriguez, David Ortiz, and Derek Jeter have more postseason coverage right after these messages.